Welcome back. All right. So I want to talk about the three teams in California because they're kind of three forgotten teams when it comes to the idea of who's going to make the playoffs. So I think we can all agree that Vegas at 10-3-1, they have a 750 winning percentage. Whether it's points or winning percentage, they're in the playoffs. Colorado 8-4-1, 654 winning percentage. They're going to make the playoffs. St. Louis 10-5-2 currently, 647 winning percentage. They're highly likely to make the playoffs. Those three are your that's it. They're in, right? So it leaves all of the other teams in the division fighting over that fourth spot and the right to get destroyed by one of these teams in the first round or pull off a huge upset, one or the other, right? So you've got Minnesota at 7-6. They have a 538 winning percentage or points percentage, and then 7-6-3 for a 531 points percentage. That's where you find the Arizona Coyotes. So right now the watermark is you have to be above 538 if you want to make the playoffs in this division, and that's going to be tough because I still think Minnesota probably has the inside track. But we'll take a look at this. So first we'll talk about the 6-8-3 Anaheim Ducks. In terms of offense, there's not a lot there. 1.88 goals for per game. That is 31st. It's last. I do wonder how long it's going to take before they call somebody up from the minors to help. Or maybe this is just a season that they look at and say, nah, this year's lost. 2.59 goals against per game. That's 8th in the NHL. So defensively, they're doing pretty well. Offensively, it's just not there. So if you're a Detroit fan and saying, well, it can't be worse, I present to you the Anaheim Ducks. Their scoring leader is Maxime Comtois with 7 goals and 2 assists. That says a lot right there. Comtois is having a good start to the season, but is he envisioned to be a top goal scorer? Well, not really. I mean, can he keep this up? Maybe. Maybe he can get 20 goals over a shortened season. But it does say a lot about their lack of scoring. Jacob Silverberg, 3 goals, 4 assists for him. Raquel, 1 goal, 6 assists. Nothing but snake bit for Rickard Raquel. Danton Heinen, 3 goals, 3 assists. Hampus Lindholm, 2 goals, 4 assists. Getzlaff, 1 goal and 5 assists for him. Getzlaff's days of being a point-a-game player they're done. They've been done for the last few years. So when you look at the overall leading scorers, this was a team that all 3 of these actually missed the play-in round. All 3 of them were off for, 10 months? And while some on the board seem to get rejuvenated from the time off, Getzlaff, it's much the same as it was last year. The offense just isn't there. In net, Gibson, 5-6-3 with a 919 save percentage. Gibson's very good. Any Ducks fan will tell you that he is the MVP of the team. They can go as far as he'll take them. And he does win games that he probably shouldn't. So they get wins that they shouldn't because of Gibson. Miller, 1-2 with an 895 save percentage. Capable backup goaltender. Their goaltending is really, really solid. Now, over their last 10, they've started to fall off. 3-6-1. At home, they're 3-4-2. And away from home, they're 3-4-1. So they're not winning very well at home. They're not winning on the road. And they've lost 2 in a row. Their winning percentage right now is the lowest on the board at 441. Their road is tough. Now, when you look at their record against other teams in the division, they're 1-1 against Arizona. They're 1-0-1 against Colorado. So they play Colorado tough. And that's where it's kind of weird. They're 1-0 against LA. They're 1-2 against Minnesota now after last night's loss. They're 1-1 against San Jose. They're 0-2 against St. Louis. Against Vegas, they're 1-2-1. They play Vegas pretty tough as well. So Colorado and Vegas, who are, widely visioned to be the 2 teams fighting it out to decide who the true contenders for the Stanley Cup are this year, yeah, for those games, Anaheim gets up. St. Louis has taken them out twice. So they don't have any luck against St. Louis. It's the only team in their division they haven't got a win against yet. So, I mean, the overall picture for Anaheim is not rosy, but they're still technically in it because, again, the way that the 3-point system works, where you get a point for losing in overtime and shootouts, that's there to give this picture that teams are still in this. Because you look at the overall column and you go, well, they got 6 wins and 8 losses. When in reality, it's 6 wins and 11 losses. But they're still in it. So we'll go to the Kings. The Kings, 6-6-3, as I said. Their goals for 3.07 per game. That's 14th. That's not too bad. And then their goals against is an even 3, which is 21st in the league. That's not great. But the fact that they're outscoring the goals against is impressive. This wasn't supposed to happen this year. Now, Anze Kopitar leads the team in scoring with 4 goals and 15 assists. I mentioned Getzlaf looks kind of the same as last year. Kopitar, not so much. He's been rejuvenated. So's Dustin Brown. 8 goals and 6 assists for him. Doughty, the offense is there. We can talk about defensive numbers some other time, but 4 goals, 9 assists for Drew Doughty. Iafallo, 3 goals, 7 assists. Kempe, 4 goals, 5 assists. And Carter, who seems to be playing a lot faster than he was last year. The goals still aren't where you'd want them to be, but at 3 goals and 6 assists, not too bad. And then you've got other guys in the lineup that are developing, like Velarde. Strand was impressive in his call-up. Anderson Dolan's been putting up points now that he's being given a chance. There's reasons for optimism if you're a Kings fan. Jonathan Quick, this is where it gets weird, is the goaltending, and it gets weird with San Jose too. Quick, 4-2-2 with an 889 save percentage. Peterson's 2-4-1 with a 926 save percentage. Now, Peterson has been the better goaltender, and I've seen people say, oh, you can't use save percentage, that's not reliable. Okay, well, how about the fact that I've watched every game? So, Peterson has been the better of the 2 goaltenders, but the record tells you they play better in front of Jonathan Quick. So, Quick probably gets the lion's share of games from here. I'd like to see Peterson get him, but we'll see what happens. Over their last 10, they're 5-4-1. Over their last 10, they have the best record on the board of these 3 teams in California. At home, they're 3-2-3, and away from home, they're 3-4. Their overall record, they've won 3 in a row to get to 6-6-3. So things seem to be going relatively well for the Kings. There's some good news here, right? Unless you're a Kings fan that wanted to see them not win because you want to see them get more prospects. But keep in mind, they're 6-6-3, and this is with Byfield in the AHL. So the record right now is 500. It's the best of the 3 California teams. They are the closest to this record here of Anaheim's, or I shouldn't say Anaheim, Minnesota's. We'll see if they get there. They're 0-1 against Anaheim. They're 1-0 against Arizona. They're 1-1 against Colorado. 2-1-2 against Minnesota, so close on that series. 1-0-1 against San Jose. 1-1 against St. Louis, and 0-2 against Vegas. They need to be able to beat Vegas. Vegas and Anaheim are the only ones they don't have a win against. The fact they're 2-1-2 against Minnesota is nice, although Minnesota, that means, has won 3 out of 5 games. So Minnesota's got 6 points in that matchup. Nope, more than that. Anyways, yeah. For for Minnesota against LA, that might be the series that decides who ends up getting that 4th spot. We'll see. Right. For Minnesota, I'm impressed with what they've done so far, and especially coming out of that COVID break. You know, they looked decent last night against Anaheim, and these are the teams they need to beat. So I still think LA can challenge. And before the season started, I said, you know what, LA, don't write them off. I thought LA might be capable of this. And so far, you know, again, 6-6-3 means they've won 6 out of 15. But you may be able to make the playoffs in this division without winning half your games. It's possible. And then we get to San Jose, who are 6-7-2, and they're a curiosity because, of course, they spent their first 12 games of the season on the road. 2.4 goals per game, that's 25th in the league. That's too low. 3.53 goals against per game, that's 29th. That's too high. It's alarming that they're near the bottom of the league in both goals for and goals against. You can get away with one, right? You might be able to get away with the other, but you can't really get away with both. Historically, you just can't. So they're allowing way too much, and they're not scoring enough either. Now, on the scoring front, Couture, 7 goals, 6 assists. Logan Couture will always give you goals and points, and he's a warrior. When he's in the lineup, he's great. Hurdle, 6 goals, 4 assists. A bit hot and cold for Hurdle, but not too shabby. Kane, 4 goals, 6 assists for him. Evander Kane, if he can stay out of the box, he can be useful. The one problem with Evander Kane is he does take a lot of penalties. Donato, 3 goals, 5 assists. He's enjoying his time in San Jose. I'll go out on a limb and say that. Burns, 3 goals, 4 assists. Maybe not the production you want from Burns. And, of course, Carlson's not on the board. And Timo Meier with 2 goals, 5 assists. He'd like to have more than 2 goals so far. So that's part of the reason that San Jose's goal scoring is down. You have Myers not getting the goals that you want, and Carlson hasn't had that offensive bounce back. Burns, I would think at this point in the season, you're 15 games in. You'd probably want about 10 points from Burns. you've got 7. So you're not quite getting that offensive support that you want, right? And they've lost Joe Thornton, and I do think that makes a difference. You look at what Thornton's done for Toronto. I think as much as he's helping Toronto, I think it's hurt San Jose not having Jumbo Joe out there. It's not all about points. Now, in the goaltending realm, Jones has the better record. He's 6-4-1. His save percentage, .882, continues to be an issue. The save percentage for Jones seems to drop every year, but the win-loss record's okay. Dubnyk, 0-3-1 with a .917 save percentage. Dubnyk playing well. They don't score in front of Dubnyk. Last 10 games, they're 4-4-2. So better last 10 than Anaheim. Not as good as the Kings, but only 1 point off. Now, when we look at their home record, they're only 1-1. They've only played the 2 games, and away from home, they're 5-6-2. So really, with with San Jose, it becomes an issue of, can they win at home? If they can win regularly at home, they can build on their experience of being on the road for that long. They have a chance. They really do. They have a .467 winning percentage, so they're higher than Anaheim. They're lower than LA. And getting to that .538 gets difficult. They need to go on a winning streak. And again, I know there's still a lot of games left, but is there? Like, we're not sure how many games we end up getting in. It's a 56-game schedule. So when you look at 17 games, you might say, well, that's not so many. You look at 15, that's not so many. But then there's 40 left. So it is definitely more impactful what happens early in the season than would be the case over an 82-game schedule. So against Anaheim, they're 2-0-1. So at the very least, San Jose may be keeping Anaheim out of the hunt. Against Arizona, they're 1-1. Against Colorado, they're 0-2. So Colorado hasn't really made hay against California teams the way one might expect. But against San Jose, they've won both. Against LA, they're 1-1. Against Minnesota, also 1-1. Against St. Louis, 1-1. The third one was the overtime loss last night. And against Vegas, they're 0-1. Vegas could very well be the bane of their existence. It is possible that Vegas decides who ends up making it out of these 3 teams, or that none of them end up making it. Against Vegas, 1-2-1, 0-2, 0-1. These teams have a combined 1 win against the Vegas Golden Knights this year, and that's going to be huge. 2 wins against St. Louis, and against Colorado, 2 wins as well. But the record against Vegas is right about where you'd expect it. I think with San Jose, I look at their offense, their defense, the goaltending issues as well. I just can't see them being able to get on a consistent run to get into a playoff spot. Anaheim, that anemic offense is killing them again, and it's actually worse this year than last year. Last year, the lowest goals for per game was Detroit had, I think, 2 or 2.06, somewhere around there. So yeah, Anaheim's has gotten worse this year. LA's numbers, they're mediocre, but they're middle of the pack in goals for. If they can cut down their goals against, they could be right there. This is a team that, yeah, they could play spoiler. They could at the very least keep Arizona out of the playoffs or knock Minnesota out. So even if none of these teams end up making the playoffs, how Minnesota and Arizona play against these 3 teams will go a huge way to deciding where they end up at the end of the season. And again, with the idea that Vegas, Colorado, St. Louis, nobody's going to catch those 3. They could finish in any order from 1 to 3. It's all about finding that 4th spot and getting into the playoffs. So the question I have is, and obviously my vote is for the Kings, which of the 3 teams on the board from California do you think has the best chance of going on a bit of a run and maybe making themselves a number 4 team in that division? Or is your answer none of the above? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.